Ben with the Elias Game Plan. I'm here interviewing Jimmy Wright, who I'm sure you're used to seeing on the other side of things, but Jimmy's been at Elias for a long time. He started here as an intern. He's worked in research. He's worked in marketing. He's a man of many hats. Just about anything you can do around here, he's done. And today we're going to talk to him about his experience at the MLB All-Star Game last year.
Let's do it, Ben.
All right, looking forward to it. All right, so, whenever people talk about the All-Star Game, they want to talk about the events, what you were there to see. So what events did you attend that week?
Yeah, so I got to go to the two main ones, right? I was at the Home Run Derby, and then I got to go to MLB All-Star Game proper. I unfortunately missed the Futures game, but I got to two of the more fun events. So
that's great. The Home Run Derby is really what people think of when they think of that's the start of All-Star Weekend. That's the big event. That's usually the event most fans watch on TV that isn't the game. So what was that like live compared to what you may have seen on TV in the past?
Yeah, it was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be, if I'm being honest. I obviously, as a kid, I watched the Home Run Derby a lot. I think anybody grows up watching baseball, hitting a home run is about the most exciting thing you're going to see. So I used to watch it, and then I sort of fell off a little bit. I know they went through the format change where they went from outs to timing the Derby, and I've got to say, it really made the event a lot of fun. It was a much more fast-paced event than the ones I had watched on TV when I was younger. It was just really exciting. The fans were into it. It moved quickly from player to player, so there wasn't too much downtime. And obviously all these guys were putting on a show. So you're just seeing different players, all these panoply of sluggers, and they move quick. There's music, it's rocking. It was a lot of fun. There's a lot of good energy there.
Yeah, obviously nonstop action with some of the top talents in the sport. I mean, so you're a Mets fan. You got to see your guy, Polar Bear Pete Alonso, bring the title home. What was that like?
Yeah, I was surprised how many Mets fans were in attendance. It's fun walking through the stadium during the All-Star Game or the Derby because you see every jersey and hat imaginable, right? All the teams are represented, minor league teams, throwbacks. It's a lot of fun. But as the Derby wound down and when Pete put on his big chain and celebrated, there was a good amount of people who had stayed who were then in the lower bowl, just waiting to get a glimpse of him, right? He did a little walk around the stadium. He acknowledged all the Mets fans, but a lot of blue, a lot of Mets hats, a lot of Mets jerseys, which was cool. It didn't feel like a visiting event for him by the end. It felt like he had this little traveling entourage cheering him on. He loved it. I mean, the guy clearly feeds off the energy.
Absolutely.
And it was really fun to watch him. And it was cool that I got to go to an event in Denver. And as a Mets fan, there's a little bit of pride there.
And see a Met win. I mean, he's one of the top talents in the sport, back-to-back Home Run Derby champ. When we think of the best traveling MLB fan bases, some people are going to shout out the Yankees and the Dodgers, but Mets fans show up when their guys have got a chance.
Well, he had won the year the prior Derby, so I guess people knew he might do it again, and he came through for us.
And this year, Alonso's looking to three-peat, looking to be the second ever three-time champion, joining only Ken Griffey Jr., who is one of the greatest home run hitters to ever live. But beyond Alonso, let's hear about some of the other great talents you got to see participate in that event.
Yeah, that Derby was really cool because I'm sure a lot of baseball fans know Trey Mancini had participated in the Derby in 21. He had cancer during the season, and it was in remission. And just what a great story that he was even back healthy on the field. But he wasn't just there just to be there. I mean, he put on a show too. He had a big run of home runs. He put on he's a big guy. He's a slugger. And he was worth the price of admission to see. We had, thanks to Elias, we had some pretty good seats, and seeing Shohei Ohtani even that close, man, he's a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I underestimated how big he was, which he shouldn't, right? He's, a workhorse pitcher and
big righty, 6'4", every bit of 6'4", but it's easy to hear it it's hard to conceptualize what that means until you see that playing out on the field in a home run derby. And then you think, that guy's pitching in the All-Star game.
Right. I guess if on the wrong day you're thinking of him as a pitcher, you might forget that he's one of the best sluggers in the game, and seeing him in that atmosphere was really cool. And then the other guy that stood out is another guy who's in the news, Juan Soto. So many of his, comparables, or he's the modern day Ted Williams, right, Ben? Like that's how people talk about how good of a hitter this guy is.
That's rarefied air to be in, but he's being put there, and I think it's pretty reasonably with his walk rates, the fact that he's won a batting title and he's 23 years old. He's
such a good hitter, so that you may not think that he's sort of a sellout for power. He's got such a beautiful swing, but again, in that atmosphere, he put him deep. So it was really fun to get to see him live and to see him put on that power display that goes with obviously him being one of the best hitters in the game already at the age of 23. I think he is already.
Oh yeah, a lot of exciting talents. I mean, 22 last season in the home run derby. But enough about the derby. Let's talk the game. What was that like? The atmosphere. How did it feel?
Yeah, so it started off on a bit of a somber note. A really nice ceremony before the game. Hank Aaron's widow came out, and because Hank Aaron had died earlier in the year, MLB did a really nice ceremony honoring him and showing highlights of his career, both on the baseball diamond and off, the work that he did in the civil rights movement, to go with his myriad accomplishments in baseball. So it started off, it's interesting that you're watching this game, you're looking at the scorecard, right? And it's the biggest names in baseball, but arguably fewer bigger than Hank Aaron. So to start the game, seeing him was just a really nice nod to the past. And then once the game started, it's funny, you remember that Ohtani started that game as a pitcher. So night before we had watched him, putting home runs into the upper deck, and then he's on the mound pitching. And him versus Scherzer was, really something fun to watch. Especially with a guy like Scherzer, the ball hits the catcher's glove. That sounds a little different than a lot of other guys. So it was really cool to be there for the game. And then, Ben, you mentioned I'm a Mets fan. I grew up with Vlad Guerrero tormenting the Mets on the Expos. And then to see his son launch one into left field was certainly something else. Probably defies my age a little bit, tells you how old I am. But it was really cool. Everyone knew Guerrero Jr. was one of the top prospects, and he had kind of started those first 2 years, really wasn't quite there yet, right? Like, not slow, but just not the best hitter in the game, which is what his unfair expectations was. And then to see him hit one into the cheap seats was, very cool and very humanizing, considering I watched his father play when I was younger.
Definitely makes you feel a little bit more mortal. Reminds you of your age there.
But
it's great to see, a guy who's heralded as the second coming kind of struggled when he came up, like you said, had kind of a rough first year. And then last year was in the thick of the MVP race, won All-Star Game MVP. His dad's won an MVP. It's such a great story. So now let's talk about what it's like being at the epicenter of the MLB world. I mean, everybody's there. You have former players, you have superstars right now, you have superstars in the making, you have celebrities in town for the softball game. What's it like being there as the whole MLB industry converges?
Yeah, it's a bit of a head-spinning experience, because as you look off and you see somebody that maybe you recognize, somebody else walks by you that you definitely recognize. So a lot of media members, a lot of the players, and just everyone involved in MLB is there. It's funny. I know somebody who works for Major League Baseball. And so as I was in the lobby in the hotel going up to say hi to him, I spotted him. And the first thing he said to me was, "Wow." And I said, "What?" He said, "You just walked by Dave Roberts." And I had no idea. I somehow missed that the Los Angeles Dodgers, who was managing that game, had walked by me, and I did not even realize it.
Managing that day, coming off winning the World Series,
Right, and like a schlub, I just walked by him like he wasn't even there.
Well, when every star is in town, it's kind of hard for one guy to feel like a star. I mean, who else did you see out on the town?
Yeah, I was in the hotel at one point. I was sitting next to Rafael Devers and his family, and Yankees fans probably don't want to hear this, but he was incredibly gracious. A lot of people went up to him to get a picture, ask for an autograph, and he must have been there for at least an hour. And anybody who approached him, he gave a smile, gave a picture, signed an autograph. So it was good to see a guy like that, a young guy who was obviously enthused by the crowd. I had a funny encounter after the game. Me and my wife went out to have dinner, and somebody walked into the restaurant, and it's not somebody that you would miss because it was Aaron Judge. And so he walks in, his head's almost scraping the top of the restaurant. That's a celebrity sighting. The game must have been over 45 minutes, and he was in the same restaurant as us. Problem is, he can't really, he can't sneak in there.
Hard to blend into the crowd at 6'7" or 6'8", whatever he is. He's probably hard for him to sneak around anywhere. You're right about that. So
yeah, and because I mentioned my wife was there, we did get to see a contestant from The Bachelor. It was Pilot Pete from The Bachelor.
Huge deal.
Bachelor
All
Nation.
The celebrity crowd.
Yeah, it was.
That's great.
It's a lot of familiar faces walking around. It's really cool. If anybody has the opportunity, it's a really cool event to be around.
Well, and you get to see all these people around, of course. The city of Denver, who hosted the All-Star Game last year. What was Denver like as a host town? Because not a lot of people have this idea that Denver's this great baseball town. People normally think of Denver, the football town, but they hosted the All-Star Game. So what was that like?
Yeah, it was great. The town did a great job. I got to walk around the city quite a bit while I was there. And just the amount of advertising that was being done was really cool. Obviously, the whole town, was involved. And even outside of the MLB focus, there was just a lot of energy. Even going to a historic landmark like Union Station, they had it branded for the All-Star Game. So the whole town bought in. It was really fun. I had never been to Denver before. So being in the city was cool, but seeing it sort of through the lens of MLB was nice. They had their local flavor while at the same time putting on this massive event on somewhat short notice. So yeah, they did a tremendous job. I was really excited that I got to go, and kudos to the Denver fans.
No, that's great to see. Denver, the underrated baseball town. Keep it in mind next time you're looking for the next stadium you want to go and check out on your tour of the country, baseball fans, because Denver fans are showing out, which is good to hear.
Coors Field's a great stadium. It was really nice, beautiful shot of the sun during the home run derby. It was a really great venue.
That's great to hear. So summing it up, when you get to go to the All-Star Game, if you're going to the All-Star Game this year, if you're thinking about going in the future, you get to see some of the sport's top talents on and off the diamond.
Yep.
Some tape measure homers.
Mm-hmm.
Meet Bachelor contestants.
Can't beat that.
Can't beat it. And, of course, see a city come alive with the spirit of baseball.
Yeah, it's a great event. I had a lot of fun going.
That's great to hear. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in with us. Thank you, Jimmy, for sharing your All-Star Game stories and helping build the hype around one of the top events in baseball. Fans, sound off below. Who won the Home Run Derby? We don't know yet, but we're looking forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Ben.